So my CyberTruck is back. It's fixed. It's ready to go. I'm super excited. I'm happy. But yet, this whole process was stressful, was frustrating. I have a lot of opinions on attorneys, Tesla insurance, and how this all went down. Let's dive into it. So exciting news, exciting day. My baby's home. Let's take a look. So, as you can see, it looks like nothing ever happened. Brand new wheel flare, brand new rocker panel. Whole passenger side got rewrapped at Mike's Tent Shop. So it's looking new, it's looking good. Really happy with how it came out, and I'm happy that it's behind me and that whole drama and saga's done. So she's home. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is how did this accident happen? So my son plays travel basketball, and we were out in a tournament out in LA. On our drive home from the tournament, I was driving on the 91 freeway going east. I was merging onto the 57 north. As I was merging from the 91 to the 57, I seen a white Audi e-tron SUV. It caught my eye because it's an electric vehicle and I like electric vehicles. And so I seen it, I passed it, I was ahead of the vehicle, and traffic slowed down. I was probably merging onto that lane. I think I was going about 60 something miles per hour. Merged into the lane, traffic slowed down. It wasn't abrupt, it wasn't an immediate slowdown, but it slowed down and traffic got down to about 20 something miles per hour. So as I'm in that traffic, I'm sitting there with my son. My son, it really enjoys looking out the window and seeing all the reactions from people seeing the Cybertruck. So that's what he was doing, and he was pointing out cars and telling me, hey, the whole drive he's telling me, oh, look, that guy's taking a picture, that guy's videotaping, those people are smiling. He enjoys that. He's 9 years old. And so he was looking out the window and we were talking, and all of a sudden we get hit from the side. Obviously, there was a sense of shock because I wasn't expecting that. The person who hit me sideswiped me on the passenger side and kept going forward. I pulled over, I got out, immediately went to check the Cybertruck. I noticed the damage. In looking from the rear to the front, I seen her get out of her car, noticed it was a woman, wanted to go check up on her and make sure she was okay. I approached her, asked her, are you okay? She said yes. I then asked her what happened. And this is what really shocked me and frustrated me. She looks at me dead serious and goes, I don't know, you cut me off. That was like a punch in the gut because I was ahead of her. Traffic slowed down. My assumption is she wasn't paying attention, that traffic slowed down, and she sideswiped me. Obviously, I was frustrated, didn't want to engage any further with her as far as debating whose fault it was. A lot of people want to make a big deal about the rear view camera system and rear view mirror. I will say this, I understand the tonneau is for aerodynamics and to give you that range, right? So I understand why they went with a camera rear view mirror. I just wish they would have put the camera in the mirror up here, because I've been driving for 20 something years, and so I'm trained to look up at my rear view mirror. I'm not trained to look down, and I understand that in time I can retrain myself, but new vehicle, I'm still looking up here and I see black. And so I have to look down and look down here. I wish they would have put it up here, because I truly feel that I noticed that when I'm driving my wife's car, or when I drove my Ram 3500, that I look up in that mirror constantly to see who's behind me. And I feel like that day when I was driving and merged into that lane, that I would have been constantly checking the mirror, and I would have probably seen her not paying attention, and I would have probably been able to move out of the way or try to avoid the situation. But because I'm still not trained on looking down to my screen, I didn't see her coming at me and about to hit me. I look at my side view mirrors, but I think I use my rear view mirror more than my side view mirrors. So that's one thing I will say, is that I wish they would have put the screen up here in the mirror, and I'm actually curious to see if there's any third-party manufacturers who is gonna make a mirror up here. And I'm not sure if they can tap into that camera or to add a camera, I don't know. But after this accident, I have a strong opinion about that I really do feel that if I would have had a screen up here as opposed to down here, I possibly could have avoided this, because I think I would have seen her coming and possibly been able to avoid her hitting me. Just wanted to kind of add that, because I know a lot of people don't like this setup. This kind of proves that I'm not sure this worked. Hopefully Tesla for second generation Cybertrucks fixes this, just puts a screen up here. Or a third party can come out, hopefully tap into that camera and add a screen up here. Or makes it easy to add a wireless camera in the back and put a screen up here. So we'll see. I told her I'm gonna go to my car, get my insurance information, if you can get your insurance information. She agreed. Came to the car. When I got into my car, my son asked what happened. And in frustration, I just told him, she's saying that we hit her. My son had a very confused look on his face. He said, "Dad, we didn't hit her. She hit us. I saw her hit us." Once again, didn't want to really get into a whole conversation with my son. I just wanted to go out, figure out what's going on, and exchange insurance information. So I grabbed my insurance information. I go out there. I took pictures of her car. Had already taken pictures of my car. I explained to her that based on the way she had damage on her vehicle and I had damage on my vehicle, that it was clear that she hit me. So I was confused as to why she was saying I cut her off. She just shrugged that off and said that it was a merge lane and that I came into her lane and cut her off. Clearly not what happened. Obviously, it's a merge lane. I did get into that lane from one freeway to the next. She then kept claiming that the state of California is a no-fault state and that it didn't matter who hit who. I explained to her that it did matter, because I didn't think that my insurance should pay for the damages for either vehicle because I didn't hit her, that it should be her insurance that pays. So that's the reason why I was confused and didn't understand why she was claiming that I hit her. She got frustrated with me and made a comment as to why I was so concerned about whose fault it was. I once again reiterated that it was important to determine whose fault it was, because I wanted to make sure that my insurance wasn't going to pay for her vehicle, since I'm not liable for this accident. She then finally agreed and said, "I will make sure that my insurance pays for everything." Okay, so I felt at that moment everything was fine. I get in my car, she takes off. Here's probably the most frustrating thing about this whole situation. I get in the car and I said, you know what, let me look at my dash cam. I want to see what that captured. Cameras all around the car. And lo and behold, my cameras weren't recording. Now, that is extremely frustrating. I wish I would have known that prior to engaging with her and speaking to her. But I was assuming my car was recording this whole time. In talking to Will, who's a host on our podcast, when this happened, we're in a group chat, the three of us, Chase, Will, and I sent them a picture of the accident and was kind of venting because I was frustrated. Chase and Will both said, "At least you have dash cam." I explained to them that I didn't, because it wasn't recording. Will said, "You know what? Let me run outside and check my CyberTruck and make sure mine is recording, because I don't want to be in a situation like this either." Lo and behold, his wasn't recording. So I have a 500 VIN number. He has a 700 VIN number. The conclusion that we came to was, are those early VIN numbers being delivered with dash cams that aren't formatted? And if they're not formatted, they're not recording. I had to go and format my memory card for my dash cam. He had to do the same for his. He even went into a CyberTruck forum to kind of let everybody know this. Hey, check your dash cam memory cards, because there's 2 early VIN numbers that they're not recording. So that's my advice to all of you guys is at delivery, if you haven't taken delivery yet, double check that yours is recording. If it is, fantastic. If it isn't, format it immediately. Don't even leave the lot before you do that. For those of you who have taken delivery, go and check yours. Now, a lot of you may think, why didn't you check that earlier, Eric? Well, I think with all of the excitement of the vehicle, with showing it to people, getting it wrapped, doing content, everything that goes into all that, last thing I was thinking about was, is my dash cam recording? Mistake on my part, I know. Go ahead and yell at me in the comments. That was my mistake. Learn from my mistake. This is the reason why I'm doing these videos, to show you guys my experiences, to learn from my experiences, and hopefully don't make the same mistakes that I've made. Getting back to that day of the accident. Noticed that my dash cam wasn't recording. All right, it is what it is. Took off, called her insurance immediately, filed a claim. She had State Farm insurance. It was a Saturday that this happened. Called them, like I said, put in a claim with her insurance. Remember, she had stated already that she'll make sure her insurance pays for all of the damages. Something when speaking to the State Farm agent that was a little alarming and kind of put a red flag in my head was he mentioned that they were going to send out an investigator to determine what happened. Okay, that's fine, because based off of the pictures and damage that I had to my vehicle, didn't think that that would be a big deal. Keep in mind also, I kept an eye on her at the scene of the accident. She never took pictures or video of anything. So I knew she had no evidence. I knew she had no, it was just a he said, she said type of situation. Except for the fact that I had a witness. I know he's 9 years old and he's biased because he's my son. I had a witness. She did not. I took pictures. She did not. I thought I had dash cam footage. I did not. When they said that they were going to send an investigator, I was already now put on alert that they were going to try to fight me on this. Hoping she was going to do the right thing and let them know, no, I was at fault, and that would clear everything up. I tried to contact Tesla Insurance that day. If you try to call them, nobody's available on the weekend. They try to direct you to use the app. In the app, you can only submit a claim. I didn't want to submit a claim because I already submitted a claim with her insurance. What I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to my insurance and kind of get some advice and see what they wanted to do and how they wanted to handle the situation. Unfortunately, I couldn't get in contact with them because it was the weekend. So the accident was on a Saturday. The very next day, my son had another game at that same location. So I was going to be driving down that same route. So what I ended up doing was on Sunday, driving back home, I took that same route. I pulled over because in the pictures, and I'll show you the pictures, there's some markings on the center divider, and there's also like a blue towel on the floor that I noticed from my original pictures at the scene of the accident. So I knew where this happened, and I wanted to go and take pictures of the scene, where the merge lane was, and I just kind of wanted to document all that, right? Well, when I pulled over and I did that, I was recording. A police officer, Highway Patrol, actually stopped and was asking if I was okay. And I explained to him the situation, explained to him how I got sideswiped and I wanted to stop by and kind of take some photos, take some video of the scene of the accident. And in our conversation, I explained to him that my vehicle was a CyberTruck. Well, lo and behold, he had seen my post, which is the accident video. So he knew about my truck and how I was in an accident. So we were talking. I showed him the photos of her vehicle and my vehicle, and he stated that it was extremely clear, in his opinion, being a highway patrol. So if I had called highway patrol the day of the accident, they would have dispatched him if he was working and available, or one of his colleagues, right? He would have wrote up the accident report and he would have had to give his opinion or how he saw the accident go down. I showed him the pictures. He stated it was cut and dry on who was at fault, and he said she was at fault. Obviously, this is after the fact. He cannot write a report anymore. She's not there. But based on my evidence and my photos, in his opinion, it was cut and dry. So that reassured me that even though I don't have the dash cam, I have good evidence, that the evidence shows who was at fault, right? I felt good about that. Monday rolls around. First thing I do, call my insurance. I call Tesla Insurance. When I called Tesla Insurance, I was on hold for about 40 to 45 minutes before getting a live agent. When I finally got a hold of somebody, I spoke to a woman and I explained to her my situation, and I asked her what she thought I should do, how we should handle this, whether I should put a claim in with her, with my insurance, and that way that can expedite repairs on my vehicle, and then Tesla Insurance can contact State Farm and work out that whole situation. She advised that because I already had a claim with State Farm, that I should just let it be and deal with them. So that kind of caught me off guard, because I was hoping Tesla was my insurance, that they would go to bat for me and help me out, try to get my car fixed sooner, and then they helped me navigate the whole insurance process with State Farm. She said no. I didn't like that. I then asked her, what should I do as far as get an attorney, or how, based off of her advice, because once again, they deal with this every day, I don't, how I should handle this process with State Farm. She stated that she cannot give me any type of legal advice, which I get. They're not attorneys. They don't want to say more than they need to. But at the same time, being that they're my insurance, they're supposed to be in my corner. They're supposed to be helping me. And I felt like I wasn't getting any help from Tesla Insurance whatsoever. That was extremely frustrating and disappointing. So I got off the phone with her. Next day rolls around and I get a call from investigator from State Farm. The gentleman introduces himself, wants to talk to me about what happened. I was transparent. I explained to him the situation. I explained to him how their insurer stated that she will make sure that her insurance takes care of everything. He then let me know that she's claiming it's my fault and that this was going to be an investigation and they wanted to figure out who was at fault. So now at that point, I was super defensive, because I feel like it's her and her insurance against me by myself. I didn't have an attorney and I didn't have my insurance backing me up. So I then proceeded to explain how everything went down, how she hit me, how I had a witness, and how I had photos. He wanted me to submit all of my evidence to him. I didn't want to do that because I felt like she had no evidence. I have all the evidence. Why am I going to submit everything I have willingly when they're trying to wrongly accuse me? So I got a little frustrated with him. I got a little heated with him because he kept claiming that it was my fault and that I needed to prove otherwise. So at that point, I decided I need to get an attorney. Got off the phone with him. I called one of the biggest accident attorneys here in Southern California. I'm not going to name their name. Spoke to somebody on the phone. They asked me to submit all of my evidence via text message. I went ahead and did that. They put me on hold, came back and said, because I don't have Dashcam and because there's no injury, because I was honest and said my son and I were fine, that they didn't want to take my case. Okay, figured no big deal. I'll call another attorney. So I called a smaller attorney who was closer to my home, spoke to somebody on the phone, and ultimately they said the same thing. No injury, no dash cam, we don't want the case. I had to explain to both of them and submitted pictures to both of them. And I'm gonna go ahead and post those photos here on this video. And you can clearly see the way her wheel well trim is popping out and the way mine is popping out, as you can see in the photos, that she initiated contact and her wheel well trim popped out a certain way and mine popped out a certain way. It's very clear as to how the accident happened, how she ran into me, and how if I was to have hit her, I would have rubbed up against her vehicle and the trim on her vehicle would have popped out in the opposite direction. And my wheel flare, it wouldn't have popped out in the back, it would have popped out in the front. So it just didn't make any sense. The photos are very clear and it's very obvious. I was very frustrated that these two attorneys are telling me that they won't take my case because I don't have dash cam and I don't have injuries. That goes to show you that a lot of these attorneys just want slam dunk. They don't want to do the hard work. They want everything just handed to them. And I know that's not all attorneys, but it's extremely frustrating because as somebody who was in an accident and was 100% not at fault, that nobody was willing to help me because there was no incentive for them, or at least no big incentive. They wanted injuries because it's a bigger claim, right? More money. If there is no injuries, okay, fine, we'll take it, but it needs to be a slam dunk, easy case for us. No dash cam, we don't want it. A lot of attorneys get a bad rap, and this is why. Because I have evidence, she does not. All we needed to do was argue it well and provide the evidence, and I would win. I didn't want to do that on my own because I didn't want to screw it up. That's the reason why during this whole process, I didn't share a lot with you guys, because I was still going through that process and I didn't want to screw it up. I wish I had people in my corner backing me up, giving me advice, and helping me navigate this whole situation. I didn't get any of that. With all of that being said, what I ended up doing was allowing State Farm to deny my claim, and I said, I'm just going to handle this out of pocket. That's all of the insurance and attorney information, right? What I left out was the day of the accident, after I put in the claim and I got home, first thing I did was I sent Tesla in their app. I already had an open service ticket with Tesla for my dome light and my visor mirror light not working, and also my rocker panels having corrosion marks. So I already had an open ticket, I already had the open conversation happening. So I submitted the picture of that passenger front wheel flare and the damage, also showing the rocker panel, and just let them know that I needed those parts and I needed them ASAP because I was sideswiped. That was on Saturday. Obviously, like I explained, Monday and Tuesday, I'm dealing with insurance and attorney issues. That following Wednesday, I decided to call Tesla to find out if there was any updates on my part. Lo and behold, they tell me they have all my parts. So all of the frustrations I had over the weekend, Monday and Tuesday, dealing with insurance and attorneys, Tesla gave me the news that I wanted to hear. It was like hallelujah. They stated rocker panels and wheel flare, they had come in and we were ready to go. I was excited. I wanted to take the truck in right then and there and get this all fixed, right? They told me I had to wait a week. I mean, we know that Tesla service is busy, so they couldn't take me right away, but at least I knew parts were in. Then as that conversation went on with Tesla, they ordered the wrong wheel flare. They didn't order the passenger side, they ordered the driver's side. So now my stress level rose again because I initially called, they told me they had all the parts. I was excited, so I hit that high. And then it was another punch in the gut saying, we ordered the wrong part, and I went down low. They were super nice. They were very sorry for that confusion and them ordering the wrong part. They said they're going to order the right part, and hopefully that would come sooner than later. We made that appointment for the following Wednesday, so 1 week later, and I had hopes that in that time frame that passenger front wheel flare would come in to service and I would be able to get my truck repaired at that appointment time, because it only took them really 2 or 3 business days to get the wheel flare in the first place, and I'm going, we have more than that to the appointment time. So that following Monday comes around. I said, let me check in with Tesla Insurance and just see where we're at with this part and if the correct part came in. Spoke to them on that Monday. They said that it's supposed to come in on Tuesday, the next day. Great, fantastic, perfect. Comes in Tuesday, I show up Wednesday, we get it fixed, we're good. Tuesday comes, I'm paranoid, I message them, hey, did it come in? They message me back saying, sorry, there was a delay. It's not gonna come in until Thursday. Another punch in the gut. So I was frustrated, disappointed, but I understood that they're trying their best to make this right for me when it's not even their fault. So I appreciated them. I wasn't frustrated with them, I was just frustrated with the situation. Well, later that day, Tuesday, I get a message from Tesla stating, part just arrived, we're good to go, we'll see you tomorrow, we'll get this fixed. Oh, the best news. So happy in that moment. Next morning comes, I show up to Tesla, they look at the car, they apologize to me that I've had to deal with this, obviously not their fault. Super helpful. Ryan and his team at West Covina Tesla service was amazing. They kept the vehicle overnight. They gave me a plaid Model S, so really happy with that. By the way, that car's crazy fast. Next day came, they got everything fixed. They replaced the rocker panel, they replaced the wheel flare, no other damages to the vehicle. They didn't find anything else. Super happy. So I want to go over that, the cost of that, because now I'm out of pocket, right? I wasn't going to do insurance claims with insurance. I was frustrated with everybody. I said, I'm just paying everything out of pocket. So my cost for the front wheel flare, the part was $55. Labor was $166.85 for a total of $221.85. Add the sales tax. My total for the flare was $227.08. Remember, my rocker panel, I would have probably had to pay for that, but because I already had a service ticket for the corrosion marks, that was done under warranty. So in total with Tesla, to get my wheel flare fixed and the rocker panels is $227.08. And they were able to get parts quickly, so they were able to get it fixed really quickly for me. The accident was on the 9th of March, and by the 22nd of March, I had everything or I had all of the parts fixed from Tesla. So then I had an appointment with Mike's Tint Shop and get it wrapped. When I spoke to Ivan, the store manager, they had already seen my video online and knew that I was going to be calling. So they were ready for me. He told me, no problem, bring the truck in, we'll get it rewrapped for you. Not a problem. Brought it in. It was the whole passenger side because she hit me from the back rear quarter panel all the way to the front quarter panel. So it was more damage than he anticipated, so he had to order more material. So he rewrapped the whole passenger side of the truck. The total for that was $745.35 to get the whole passenger side rewrapped. So in total, for all of my repairs, out of pocket, it came out to $972 and change, which isn't bad. And I feel better about the situation because I feel like by me doing it out of pocket, I was able to get everything fixed sooner. I didn't need to deal with the frustration of insurance and claims and adjusters and where they need me to take the truck. I didn't need to deal with any of that. And that's why I elected to just do it myself. I was so frustrated and disgusted with the whole situation that I didn't even want to deal with it anymore. I didn't want to talk to anybody anymore. I felt like I was disappointed every time I spoke to somebody. I was over it. And once again, huge thank you to Tesla. Huge thank you to Mike's Tint Shop. They really went above and beyond to get me parts, to get the wrap done quickly. Super helpful. I can't say enough about Ryan, Tesla West Covina. I can't say enough about Ivan, Mike's Tint Shop in Orange. If you have a Tesla and you live in the Southern California area and you want good service, and if your service center isn't giving that to you, which I'm sure they all are, but if they're not, go to see Ryan at Tesla West Covina. He did an amazing job for me. If you have any vehicle and want tint, wrap, any of that, go see Ivan at Mike's Tint Shop in Orange. I'm telling you, the service that both of these gentlemen did for me went way above and beyond, and I can't thank them enough. I'm very appreciative of them because I had a lot of people through this process that, quite frankly, were disgusting. The lady who hit me, for her to lie and state that I hit it, that I don't understand that. I don't get why you would do something like that. Her insurance, I understand, they have to protect her and they're going to always back her. So I don't really fault them. It is what it is. Tesla insurance was a huge letdown. Number one, you can't get a hold of anybody on the weekends. Everything needs to go through the app, which is not convenient. You want to talk to people. You want them to kind of guide you, give you the best advice on how to go through a stressful situation. They didn't do that. They were a huge disappointment. Calling attorneys. If there's any attorneys out there, this is why you guys get the rap that you guys get. It's disgusting. I don't even want to get into it. Here are my tips if you get into this situation. Tip number one would be make sure your dash cam is recording at all times. Every time I take off for a drive, that's the first thing I do. Are you recording? If you are, we're going. If you're not, I'm making sure you're recording before we go. Second advice is, if you unfortunately get into the situation, make sure that you have the dash cam footage. Call the police, get an accident report, just for your own protection. Because I didn't do that. I took her word. She said that she was going to make sure it gets handled. I shouldn't have done that. My mistake. I made 2 mistakes. Next piece of advice would be not wait for anybody. Contact Tesla immediately. Let them know what parts you need so that way they get them on order. How you pay for them can be handled later, whether it's through your insurance, their insurance, out of pocket. Even if you pay out of pocket, you can always put in to your claim that you've already paid for those parts, provide the invoice, and you'll get reimbursed. So if you're in a rush and you just want to get everything expedited and you want your vehicle fixed sooner than later, that's what I would do. Contact Tesla, get the parts on order, take it into them if you need to, so they can look at everything that you need done, so they can order the correct part. That way it'll speed up the process and get your car back on the road and in your hands sooner than later. So that's my experience. That's what happened with me. It was a whirlwind. It was a roller coaster. I had a lot of highs, had a lot of lows. But overall, I'm very happy that it's behind me. I'm actually really happy I didn't go through insurance because I feel like I would still be going through that process, still be frustrated. I'm happy that it's all behind me. So I'm going to be honest with you. After I post this video, after I answer any questions or concerns that you guys may have, I know I'm going to get yelled at by some of you. That's okay. I'm ready for it, and I deserve it for some of these things. But after all that, it's kind of like it's behind me. I'm gonna move on. I'm happy with the truck. I'm happy to have it back. I'm happy with those who helped me. Very appreciative of them. Those who didn't, it is what it is. But I will be looking for a new insurance provider because I am not happy with Tesla insurance. They're the lowest premium, and now I know why. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys listening to me. I hope that this helped you guys in making sure you don't make the same mistakes that I made. Just be safe out there. Be aware of your surroundings. Make sure that you are protected with making sure your dash cam is recording at all times. Hopefully none of you guys have to deal with this. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Leave any questions or comments down below, and I will be sure to answer those. Thank you guys.